They told us ancient Egypt was obsessed with power, with crowns, with gods, with kings and monuments meant to last forever. But what if that's the wrong story? What if the most important rituals of Egypt were never about ruling at all, but about who was strong enough to survive the truth? Because beneath the temples, beneath the golden ceremony, there was something far more dangerous than rebellion or invasion. There was fire, not the kind that warms, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that reveals. And Egypt feared that fire more than death itself. Before we go any further, if you're drawn to the hidden side of ancient Egypt, the rites they tried to erase, and the truths that were never meant for the masses, make sure you're subscribed to Sacred Nile Chronicles. What you're about to hear isn't the version taught in textbooks. Now let's begin. The fire rituals Egypt hid for centuries weren't mistakes. They weren't experiments gone wrong. They were filters. Only a few were ever meant to pass through them. In sealed chambers, far from public eyes, initiates were brought before sacred flames that were believed to see through a person. Not their rank, not their titles, not even their intentions, their essence. And here's the part that should unsettle you. These rituals were so severe that even pharaohs were banned from witnessing them. Kings who claimed divine blood, rulers who called themselves living gods, they were not allowed inside, because the fire did not answer to power, it answered to truth. Those who entered were warned, you will not leave the same. Some emerged transformed, quiet, distant, marked for life. Others never emerged at all. And the most terrifying fate wasn't death, it was erasure. In Egypt, to lose your name was to lose your soul. To be stripped of it meant no afterlife, no remembrance, no return. One of the rites you've seen us explore recently was designed for exactly that purpose. Not execution, correction. A ritual that could strip a man of his name, burning it from memory, stone, and scroll alike. The priests believed some truths were too dangerous for certain souls to carry, and they were willing to erase a person completely to protect Egypt from imbalance. This is why so many initiations were hidden, because too many broke. The trial wasn't meant to save everyone, it was meant to select. And that's where fire comes back into the story. You've seen the signs, temples burning without smoke, flames rising when the coins remain silent, fire behaving like a witness, not a weapon. To the priests, this wasn't symbolism, it was judgment. When the gods did not answer prayers, the fire did. When divine voices fell silent, the flame spoke instead. And when fire appeared without being summoned, Egypt believed something had gone terribly wrong, or terribly right. Stone corridors glowed faintly, as if remembering heat long after the flame had vanished. Shadows danced along the walls, moving even when no fire burned. Priests stood at a distance, faces lit by an unseen glow, afraid to step closer. Some claimed the fire left marks, not on skin, but on the air itself. Those who passed through said the chamber felt alive, breathing, watching, weighing every thought. Time stretched there. Minutes felt like lifetimes. Lifetimes collapsed into seconds. And when the doors finally opened, silence followed, because everyone could see it in their eyes. They had seen something Egypt was never meant to remember. Because the most dangerous fire of all wasn't the one that destroyed temples. It was the one that refused to be extinguished. There are accounts, fragments, only of flames that returned no matter how often they were smothered, drowned, buried under stone. Each time the fire came back stronger, watching, waiting. That kind of fire was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to decide. This is why entire rituals vanished from history, not because they failed, because they worked too well. If the people had known what the fire revealed about priests, rulers, even the gods themselves, the balance of Maat would have shattered overnight. So Egypt chose silence. They sealed chambers, burned records, swore oaths that lasted generations. But fire remembers. And that brings us to the most unsettling truth of all. These rituals were never about enlightenment. They were about containment. Egypt didn't fear ignorance. They feared revelation. They understood something we've forgotten, that not every soul is meant to carry every truth. And forcing it upon the unready doesn't lead to awakening. it leads to collapse. That's why initiations broke more souls than they saved. Why survivors spoke less, not more. Why those who failed were forgotten rather than mourned. Fire wasn't there to punish, it was there to measure. So when you hear stories of ancient Egypt and think of Queen Atbai's crowns and monuments, remember this. The real power of Egypt was never who ruled it. It was who survived the fire. And if you want to see how all these rites connect, how the fire trials, the forbidden ceremonies, and the hidden initiations form a single terrifying system, then you need to watch the full mid-form and long-form videos linked below. Because this story doesn't end here. It only begins when you're ready to face what Egypt tried to hide. Subscribe to Sacred Nile Chronicles, explore the next chapter, and decide for yourself. Would you have survived the fire?